They certainly look like they know each other pretty well, don't they?
The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and I was 13.
Before the election.
We need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Then things changed.
Attorney General Pam Bondi's Justice Department says there was no incriminating client list.
Are you Jeffrey Epstein?
Over the last few weeks, I've combed through hundreds of documents and even more videos in order to get to the bottom of what we really know about the Epstein list. I'm going to try sex trafficker in American history was to Donald and Bill Clinton. Whether the world's elite power holders to sexually assault underage women, and why both on Epstein's island and at his properties in Florida and Manhattan were likely integral to Trump's rise to power, at the same time that they might also turn out to be his undoing. While you have likely seen some of this material before, often in short and disconnected clips on social media, putting it together here in one place reveals a powerful man in the world. Be failed casino in Atlantic City and Trump Towers. Be failed words as quoted in a 2002 New York Magazine puff piece. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. Many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. That's a real game, the owner of the Miss Universe competition.
Somebody got very upset with me, a woman. I said, no, this is all about beauty. This has nothing to do about anything else.
Right.
Almost immediately, young models, many as young as 13, started accusing Trump of various types of sexual impropriety. Here is Trump saying as much on the Howard Stern show in his own words.
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, you know, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to make sure that
You're like
everything
a doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
And then,
An age limit, or would you?
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
The
like
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with 12-year-olds.
according to flight logs released by the FBI, Trump flew on Epstein's personal plane at least 8 times between 1993. Epstein bought his private island, Little St. James, the year after the flight log's last entry. This means
I had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island.
Yeah, a court case filed by E. Jean Carroll. Now, in a taped deposition to that case, where she claimed that Trump assaulted her at a department store in New York, Carroll's lawyer asked Trump about the allegations. And
She fainted with great emotion. She actually indicated that she loved it. Okay? She loved it until commercial break. In fact, I think she said it was sexy, didn't she? It was very sexy to be raped. Didn't she say that?
So, sir, I just want to confirm, it's your testimony that E. Jean Carroll said that she loved being sexually assaulted by you?
Well, based on her interview with Anderson Cooper, I believe that's what took place.
the attorney...
Grab them by the pussy, you could do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the pussy?
Well, if you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
In a
Be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you're not insulted. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say it.
I interpret...
You're so grossed out by him. Why did you have sex with him?
I still don't know.
This became a campaign issue in 2016 after he tried to pay Daniels with hush money with campaign funds to prevent her from going public. The case dragged out for years until ultimately resulted in 34 felony convictions.
Former President Donald Trump found guilty on 34 felony counts, the first former president of the United States convicted on criminal charges.
Now, the most notable part of this outcome of the trial is the fact that just a few months later, the court declined to sentence Trump to any penalties at all, despite the conviction. Now, this is proof that he was able to avoid criminal penalties by assuming the presidency. But once he became president, well, Trump had a unique problem. He had spent each of those files, actually it was for the second time he was in charge of them, well, now he's responsible for whatever they contain. And this was a big problem because Attorney General Pam Bondi informed him that his name appeared on the list so many times that she needed to bring in 1,000 FBI agents to work on redacting his name out of them. And that is a whole lot of FBI agents. I mean,
socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Now, according to photos and videos of the two of them together at various social events, Epstein even claimed that he introduced Trump to his future wife, Melania, who at the time was working as a model in the New York scene.
And Epstein talks about she's introduced by a model agent, both of whom Trump and Epstein are involved with. Epstein says the first time Donald Trump and Melania have sex is on his airplane.
Which brings me to an important aside. Now, you've probably heard about the bawdy Epstein birthday message that the Wall Street Journal says Trump wrote for Epstein on his 50th birthday. The investigative reporter Nina Burley, who I've interviewed on this channel before, notes in her excellent timeline of Trump's relationship with Epstein that there was another creepy poem that is remarkably similar, as she says, in both syntax and language, that appeared in a spread in FHM magazine. The poem actually appears in a caption in this 2-page underwear shot with Melania. Here's how it goes, titled Melania's Lingerie Poem. The gift of imagination is the splendor of the mind. The naked form is beautiful, the lingerie divine. For what stirs more excitement than a gift wrapped up in lace? A woman knows the secrets that makes the heart race. Yeah, totally gross. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another secret. Bill Clinton, the billionaire investor Leon Black, fashion designer Vera Wang, billionaire media owner Mortimer Zuckerman, the billionaire former Victoria's Secret owner Les Wexner, the attorney Alan Dershowitz, the model scout Jean-Luc Brunel, and the billionaire former Microsoft executive Nathan Myhrvold. In full, there's 50 people who chimed in that book. Now, the mere existence of that book is enough for me to think that whatever was going on between Epstein and Trump stains an entire coterie of elite power brokers who believe, and in fact might actually be, above the law. According to a Department of Justice memo released in July of this year, over 2 decades of activity, Epstein trafficked thousands of victims to his various properties, soliciting underage girls to rape and abuse. Notably in that memo, the DOJ also states that there was no incriminating information about who Epstein actually trafficked those girls to, which is to say, the DOJ is effectively saying that Epstein trafficked women to himself, which is a pretty strange outcome for a sex trafficking mastermind with connections to just about everyone in the halls of power. Sex parties, at least as I understand it by their very definition, involve more than one person. Now, this statement even gets more frustrating because we know that the DOJ is sitting on hundreds of gigabytes of security footage, documents, and evidence collected over the years that no doubt sheds additional light on the scope of the operation.
Do you have an age limit, or would you?
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with 12-year-olds.
The DOJ wants us to believe that they are keeping the files sealed to protect the victims, But anyone looking at the mountain of information that has already come out knows that the reality is that they're probably just protecting perpetrators. Speaker Mike Johnson has said as much before shutting down Congress a week early to prevent a vote that would have disclosed all of the files.
Because you have to protect innocent people's names and reputations whose names might be, as you noted at the outset of the program, intertwined into all these files.
Meanwhile, Trump started spinning a story that the majority of the files were planted by his political enemies in the Biden and Obama administrations, and that they're so hopelessly tainted that, I'm just sorry to say it, they are meaningless.
It's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey, they were run by Garland, they were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen.
But after claiming that the files are all fake, Trump then directly contradicted himself.
But think of it, those files were run by these people. They were run by my enemy. If there was anything in there, they would have used them for the election.
So on one hand, Trump is saying that the files are all tainted and faked in order to gain a political leg up on him.
Well, alcoholic. I have many friends that are wonderful people. They're alcoholics. You put scotch in front of them. It's like, this would be my form of alcoholism.
Which is where one last piece of evidence in the whole Epstein mystery is worth examining in detail. Now, in 2016, a woman identifying herself under the pseudonym Katie Johnson sued Trump, alleging that he raped her at Epstein's mansion in 1994 when she was just 13 years old. She gave video testimony about what happened before she dropped the case after her car was vandalized. She told her lawyer that she feared that she was about to make enemies with one of the most powerful men in the world, one that had already victimized her, and then she disappeared. Now, Trump has stated that this was a hoax, just like he has most everything else that he disagrees with, from the existence of climate change,
global warming, and that a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean,
to recently firing the head of the Department of Labor and Statistics when the job numbers didn't go his way. Well, this is a recording of her testimony where she's blurred out and she's wearing a wig, and there's this strongly worded and sort of weird copyright notice over her face. But look past those for a moment, and I want you to ask yourself this. Is what
3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump. I was 13. The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job.
She had been lured to the party through a recruiter named Tiffany.
There was, maybe a couple girls that were maybe 14 or 15, but it seemed to me like we were all very young. So, and as far as Donald Trump, he knew that I was 13, and I believe that Tiffany told him he seemed to take a liking to me because I was I was so young, and I was also a virgin. So
in the video, which is about 45 minutes long, Johnson details 3 events where both Trump and Epstein raped her under the guise of giving her a modeling contract. She claims that Trump demanded that she wear a glove while touching his privates because he was worried about germs. And in another event, she says that Trump demeaned a Mexican girl while forcing her to give him oral sex, telling her that he would call immigration on her if she didn't comply. Finally, she recalls Trump wanted to play out a rape fantasy.
Tiffany approached me about a rape scene that was supposed to be played out, and I didn't like the sound of that at all. I mean, it just didn't seem like a fantasy. Didn't like the sound of that at all. I mean, it just didn't seem like a fantasy. And I started to get scared, and he was, basically like ripping my clothes off, and I was actually really, I got freaked out. I told him that I didn't want to do this. I was, I screamed over for Tiffany. She was like, Mr. Trump, she's only, this is scaring her. And he's like, oh, you shut up too. He just turned into this animal. It was like a completely different person. It was like everyone in the room was scared of him. He ripped off all my clothes, and he started to basically have sex with me, and I was screaming because I'd never had sex before. It was my first time, and Tiffany was yelling at him too. She was saying that I was a virgin, and he told us to just shut the fuck up, and just basically took my virginity while I was crying and telling him to stop. And that's basically begging for him to just stop.
Johnson eventually dropped the lawsuit against Trump and disappeared from public eye, never giving up her true identity. Been turned on his followers in social media posts calling for purity and loyalty tests, the same kinds that he decried against the woke media. Which means to me that this story, it's not going away. In all likelihood, in the next few weeks, Trump will attempt to clear his name by releasing an interview with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is the only person convicted in the Epstein case. Now, she is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking, but has been making appeals to the Supreme Court to have her case dismissed. Just like...
Wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well. Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took...
She's a child, alleged child sex trafficking.
Big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide?
In late July, officials at the DOJ privately met with Maxwell, but did not release any information about what they talked about. A few days later, on July 29th, her lawyers sent a letter to Congress saying that she was willing to reverse years of taking the Fifth Amendment and instead tell the whole truth. But she had a condition. Her lawyers wrote that if Maxwell were to receive clemency, she would be willing and eager to testify openly and honestly in public before Congress in Washington, D.C. She welcomes the opportunity to share the truth and dispel the many misconceptions and misstatements that have been plaguing this case from the beginning.
To give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it.
So here's the point that I've been working up to for this whole video. The entire country knows a lot about Trump's character merely from observing him over the last few decades of his political career and on reality TV. We know he lies and gaslights his opponents. We know that he appears to enjoy bullying people that he disagrees with. And we know that he has never felt an ounce of loyalty to anyone in his orbit who wasn't his family. And he generally has low opinions of women. More than that, we know that he rose to power in part because he benefited from the rise of the QAnon conspiracy theory that pushed a bizarre narrative about a cabal of deep state power holders running a cannibalistic pedophile ring that used children's blood to stay young. QAnon feared that a fascist dictator would come to power and use Black Hawk helicopters as a vanguard to impose martial law and destroy the American way of life. They predicted prison camps in every major city. QAnon believed that Trump would break up this cabal and bring the country back into a sense of freedom and order. Now, while this theory is ridiculous in a million ways, rape tunnels under Comet Ping Pong in DC, for example, and the blood of children is not a formula for eternal life, but despite their outlandish claims, there does seem to be a kernel of truth to their fears. Is it possible that this conspiracy theory movement ended up installing the very person, the villain, in their nightmare scenario? Could Trump be a
Google podcasting? Don't forget to follow the New Jersey Criminal Podcast on YouTube. And if you do subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you actually get alerts when we have new episodes. And I've got breaking news. Boy, I need to start using code words so the YouTube videos don't get taken down. So, more predatory behavior towards minors. The arrest of Tom Alexandrovich in the Henderson, Nevada, Las Vegas sting operation. He's the head of Israeli cybersecurity directorate, and he wanted to have his fun with a child under the age of 16, caught stone cold red-handed. The head of Israel's cybersecurity directorate was trying to do it with a child. This is 5 days ago in Nevada, 6 days ago in Nevada, his arrest. In the meantime, this is a bit of a pattern. This has happened before. This isn't the first time Israeli citizenship, frankly, is figured into a story about men or women accused of preying on children. Let's talk about Malka Leifer, a school principal in Melbourne who was charged with 74 counts of child sex abuse in 2008. And for more than 12 years, she avoided extradition until finally being sent back in 2021 to face trial. Sources are The Guardian, February 9th article, 2023. We've got Gershon Kranzer, a Brooklyn principal who fled to Israel in 2010 after being accused of abusing young relatives. He lived there for over a decade before returning to the U.S., pleading guilty and receiving 9 years in prison. Meanwhile, there's also stats on a myriad, I want to say 50 to 60 pedophiles who've gone back to Israel, with dozens of them reoffending. So Israel lets pedophiles come back, gives them shelter, and then lets them reoffend before or if they even take action. And a CBS News investigation found case after case specifically. That was how Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice in Israel, is the CBS story. Even Jeffrey Epstein himself, when he was convicted of sex crimes, guess what the first thing Jeffrey Epstein did after his sex crime conviction, because his passports weren't taken away? I'll give you a moment to guess what he did. Immediately ran to Israel after his 2008 conviction, when astonishingly his passport, even his fake passports, apparently weren't revoked. Vanity Fair's Vicky Ward reported that dinner table chatter all over New York revolved around Epstein absconding to Israel. And he later confirmed he had gone, joking, "Would you want to live in Israel?" That's a Vanity Fair news article from May 2008 by Vicky Ward, who's done incredible Epstein reporting. Spanish accounts citing Haaretz, which I'll get into that in a subsequent episode, and a Rolling Stone describe Epstein visiting Israel in April 2008, touring military sites and meeting researchers, sparking speculation he was considering staying. This is post-conviction for child X crimes. Trying so hard to remember all the words that are going to get this.
In Vegas, then fled to Israel after meeting with the NSA. The U.S. Attorney General who released him is Israeli-born Sigal Chada. Makes sense now. As built by the Adels and gambling guys who in Israel. Israel is the godforsaken country of blackmail, murder, and child abuse.